Good day, everyone. My name is Maria Kądzielska, and you are watching Poland Daily Culture. A great British conservative thinker, Roger Scruton, has passed recently. Just last year, he was awarded by Polish President Andrzej Duda with an Order of Merit. With me in the studio is Matraszek, who worked with him closely in the time of communist regime. Marek, thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
But before we start with the interview, let's give the voice to Sir Roger himself.
Poland has been many times invaded, thrice partitioned, and continuously oppressed. Yet it has never accepted the right of foreigners to dictate its law, to suppress its religion, or to control its borders. It is a nation conscious of its identity, which has lived on as an idea, a memory, and a yearning through recent times, regardless of what the Nazis and the communists did to extinguish it.
I would like to move in time and to look at the moment when Roger Scruton became actually conservative and what role Poland has in it. Because he didn't come originally from conservative family. His father was supporting the Labour Party. But I would say in a reaction to what he's seen in reality, especially in Poland and Czech Republic, he became one. How did it look like?
Well, I think, people find it surprising in the sense that if you think of conservatism as purely political disposition, in Roger's case, it was actually a transformation that occurred when he was a relatively young boy, I think at the age of 12 or 13, when he came across, partly by accident, over a collection of poems by Rainer Maria Rilke, who and Roger was brought up in a very ordinary household, working class, a lower middle class household in the north of England and then in the south. And we'll never know what processes went on in his brain when he first came across higher culture, higher literature. He as a young boy at school, he devoured literature, Rilke, but also he was fascinated by Kafka, Kierkegaard. He discovered music. And above all, that's when he changed as a person. He became, above all, conscious that he was in a world of beauty, but also in a world of ugliness. And this was this awareness that there is something deeper in what surrounds us that I think was a transformative intellectual experience from him. And once he acquired this aesthetic sensibility, that then drove him into various other conclusions about life and also his place within it and ultimately what he would do with that life.
But for academia those times, communism and Marxism were very abstract ideas, which they didn't really confront with reality that much. And as I've also learned that when Roger Scruton came to Poland and Czech Republic, he has seen how it really looked like. And you knew him in those times, yes, when he confronted in Poland with reality here, with PRL. Could you tell us more what the experience was like? What did he say, how it looked?
The experience for him, I think, must have been very, very troubling because he saw in communism and in the imposition of communist authoritarianism, essentially the institutionalization of barbarism, understood not just politically, but morally, aesthetically, culturally. And he was very troubled by what he found here. But at the same time, paradoxically, he was very impressed that the very things that communism had sought to extinguish, namely communities, faith, families, the conception of nation, Polish statehood, of course, all these had actually remained within the fabric of the nation that he came across. And these values remained very, very strong amongst ordinary people. So he gave him also great hope when he came here. And that was what primarily he sought to do here, was on the one hand, give hope. When communism collapsed, of course, he saw that these values that he had seen here could actually be very educative for the West, where he saw also these values being eroded, not by totalitarian communism, of course, but by modern liberalism. And so he felt that Central Europe could be, as it were, a sort of a beacon, really, for the way in which we should perceive the world and the things that we should value in the world as individuals. And that's why he was always attracted to this part of the continent.
And for the very end, is there any memory with Roger Scruton you would like to share with us?
Well, the memories of Roger are always the most personal, because I think this is what is not understood enough, is what a modest and humble person he was. He had a great sense of humility towards the world. He was someone, despite his incredible influence and respect that he had in the world, he really was not impressed at all by wealth, by status. He cherished the recognition that he was given, of course, but he was not a celebrity intellectual. And he had no real great love of money or status. And he lived in a sense, a very ordinary life in his house in the countryside, where he was surrounded by the only things that he really loved, which were in no particular order, his family, his books, and his horses. And we will never know which ones were the most dearest. And I think that is the most cherished memory I have of Roger, because it was through him and that friendship that those who were lucky enough to have that friendship recognized that there was a way to live which was incredibly fulfilling and brought great joy to others, but which was very far removed from what most people would think of a successful life in terms of status, money, power. And he proved that there is a different way of living, which is a better way of living. And I think that is a great comfort, actually, for a lot of people.
Just to finish, I would like to say that Roger Scruton was not only a historian of philosophy, but he was a philosopher in a full sense, which we lack in those times so badly. That's why we're all so fond of his books. And I guess we strongly recommend to read them, because they're really amazing, and most of them were translated in Polish. Thank you for watching Poland Daily Culture.